We live in a world full of constant distractions and worries, and it's easy to fall into the trap of overthinking. Marcus Aurelius, the famous Stoic philosopher and Roman emperor, reminded us of the fundamental truth: the power over our minds lies within ourselves. We cannot control external events, but we have control over how we react and process these events in our mind. If this is your first time on my channel, I ask you to help me by subscribing and liking the video. This way, I can continue creating more content like this in the future. Stay until the end of this video. The last piece of advice for overcoming overanalysis will invite you to deeply reflect on your life to date. Follow us through the entire video and discover a revelation that will change your perspective on your own journey. The common experience of a mind full of noise and incessant thoughts is something we all share at some point in our lives. The frustration of being stuck in an endless cycle of rumination, the indecision that paralyzes us, and the feeling of being overwhelmed by constant analysis are challenges that many face. The problem with overthinking is that it traps us in a state of constant worry about the future or the past, instead of allowing us to fully enjoy the present. We find ourselves trapped in a whirlwind that prevents us from making clear decisions and living with serenity. Let's start. 1. Change your perspective. Change your perspective on gratitude. Our minds can be deceitful. They often lead us into a maze of overanalysis about what we are missing, what could go wrong, or what we have not yet achieved. This is a never-ending cycle that can leave us exhausted and unsatisfied. Overthinking often arises from a focus on the negative aspects or what has not yet happened in life, obscuring the good things that are already present. Seneca once said that true happiness is in the present, without anxiously depending on the future. This gem of Stoic wisdom urges us to shift our perspective from scarcity to abundance, from overanalysis to gratitude. It's about recognizing the value of the present moment and the many blessings we often overlook when we're busy worrying about what's next. Practicing gratitude takes us out of the ruts of our minds and grounds us in the rich land of the present, where life really happens. To make this change, start by recognizing 3 things you are grateful for each day. They don't have to be big, just genuine. They can be as simple as a delicious cup of coffee, the comfort of your favorite sweatshirt, or a message from a friend. This simple practice can shift your mind from the cycle of overanalysis to a feeling of appreciation for what is now in your life. By anchoring in gratitude, you are not only silencing the noise of overthinking, but also enriching your daily experience. Gratitude amplifies the positive in our lives and can slowly transform our internal dialogue from scarcity to abundance. Over time, this new perspective can change how you face life's challenges, turning them into opportunities to further recognize and appreciate what's already good in your world. It's not just about feeling better in the present moment, but about building a foundation of contentment that can sustain you through the inevitable ups and downs that life brings. 2. Embrace impermanence and the practice of letting go. Let's face it, our minds often get stuck in a cycle of reviewing past events or worrying about the future. This is the playing field of overthinking, where thoughts become sticky and persist longer than we wish. It's a challenge that doesn't discriminate, affecting students worried about exams, professionals stressed by presentations, or anyone trying to catch up on sleep while their mind is racing at full speed. In the midst of this mental marathon, we can find solace in the words of Epicurus, who tells us that he who fears death will never do anything worthwhile for a man who is now alive. While this quote may seem a little heavy-handed, it is actually about the concept of impermanence, which is fundamental to Stoicism. Everything changes, and that includes the thoughts that seem so persistent in our minds. When we think about ourselves, we often hold on to our thoughts as if they were permanent fixtures in our lives. Accepting impermanence implies understanding that thoughts come and go, they are not eternal. This realization can be a beacon of hope when you feel trapped by overthinking. Embracing impermanence practically involves cultivating the habit of letting go. It's a kind of mental cleansing, where we consciously release thoughts that don't serve us. You can do this by imagining a river, where every thought is a leaf on the surface of the receding water. Or perhaps, you see them as ever-changing clouds, forming and eventually moving. This visualization not only provides immediate relief but also instills a deeper understanding that the nature of thinking is to change. Integrating this practice into your daily routine can transform your relationship with your thoughts. It is not a question of forcibly expelling them, but of allowing them to go. Letting go is not surrender, it is an act of courage. It means choosing not to allow redundant thoughts to occupy your mind rent-free. As you become better at this, you will notice a new mental space, a stillness that has always been there, hidden beneath the noise of overthinking. Embracing impermanence is not just a technique, it's a change to a more peaceful and present way of living. 3. Focus on the effort, not the result. Overthinking often arises from our mind's dance with the future, its outcomes, and the relentless possibilities of failure and disillusionment. This projection into the future can paralyze us with fear, as we obsess about the possible consequences of our actions rather than the actions themselves. We live in a results-oriented society, where the end often justifies the means, and this can lead us to believe that if the outcome is uncertain, the journey is not worth it. However, a Stoic quote from Epicurus offers us a clear guideline: do not explain your philosophy, live it. Stoicism teaches us to focus on our efforts and intentions rather than the results we cannot control. This does not mean that we should not set goals or aspire to accomplish great things, but it does imply that true value lies in the quality of our effort, the integrity of our actions, and the virtue with which we navigate our path. To apply this technique, whenever you find yourself overthinking the potential results of your efforts, consciously redirect your thoughts to the effort itself. Ask yourself, am I doing my best? Am I acting with good intentions? Am I being true to my values? This approach consists of being completely present in the process, putting in the work and knowing that there your responsibility ends. This focus on effort can free us from the chains of overthinking, allowing us to be in the moment, to do our best without the heavy shadow of what could be obscuring our experience. It transforms our actions from simple steps toward an outcome into expressions of our character and commitment. With this shift in focus, you discover that your path is not just a means to an end, but an embodiment of living with purpose, where each step is an achievement in itself. The last 3 strategies open the door to new perspectives, allowing you to harness untapped strengths, foster practical resilience, and deal with life's complexities with a sense of balance. 4. Take control by refocusing your energy. Have you ever found yourself stuck in a spiral of what-ifs and doomsday scenarios, repeating the same worries over and over again until you feel mentally exhausted? It's like having multiple tabs open in your mind, each with a video playing at full volume, and it feels like you can't pause it. This mental multitasking is a distinctive feature of modern life, where the pressure to be aware of everything can lead to an endless cycle of overthinking. But just like a messy desk, a cluttered mind needs to be organized. Redirecting your mental energy isn't just about finding peace of mind, it's about taking back control and silencing the endless noise of what could be so you can appreciate what is. Seneca, another Stoic sage, expressed wisdom in his words when he said, "True happiness is enjoying the present without anxious dependence on the future." This sage advice serves as a cornerstone for taking control by redirecting your energy and stopping overthinking. Start by grounding yourself in the now, focus on a task, even something small, and channel your energy into completing it. This shift in focus takes you out of the whirlwind of what-ifs about the future and anchors you in the present moment. The practical application is simple but profound. Engage in an activity that requires your full attention, It could be something as simple as organizing your workspace, taking an energetic walk, or immersing yourself in a book. These actions require now, not tomorrow or yesterday. By aligning your thoughts with your actions, you're not just distracting yourself, you're taking charge of where your mental energy flows. Remember that Stoicism is not about suppressing thoughts, but about managing them. By choosing where to invest your mental energy, you are practicing a form of mental discipline. The goal is not to completely avoid overthinking, that would be an unrealistic expectation. The goal is to recognize when your thoughts are not serving you and have the tools to redirect them. It's like training a muscle. The more you exercise this power of redirection, the stronger and more resilient your mind becomes. You will discover that the overwhelming tide of overthinking that once dominated you can be tamed with deliberate action and presence in the present moment. 5. Visualize your overthinking as an external force. Something that lurks in your mind like the fog that forms on a clear, sunny day. It starts as a single concern or idea, but quickly expands to overwhelm you like a storm that suddenly breaks out. In today's world, we are constantly bombarded with information like hail in a storm, and our minds fill with questions like, what if, what next, and what could have been. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic philosopher and emperor, once said that the happiness of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts. This quote leads us to our first technique for combating overthinking, viewing it as an external force. It's not about turning your thoughts into enemies, but about recognizing that these invasive thoughts are not the core of who you are. They are like invaders of your mental peace. Imagine these intrusive thoughts as clouds passing over a majestic mountain. You are this firm, unshakable mountain, while the clouds momentarily shift around you. How can you defend yourself from these attackers? Stoicism teaches us to observe without becoming emotionally involved. You can imagine putting these thoughts in a bubble and then watching them float away from you. This mental exercise not only reduces their weight, but also reinforces the understanding that thoughts are transient. They can only disturb your peace if you cling to them and give them power. Practicing this visualization creates a mental reflex that helps you detach and let go of those thoughts before they become an emotional storm. As you get better at distinguishing yourself from this avalanche of overthinking, it becomes easier to see that you are not simply the sum of your thoughts. This distinction acts like a shield, similar to earplugs in a noisy crowd. It is a deliberate and continuous effort that grows stronger with daily practice. When you notice that you are starting to overthink, stop and visualize this thinking as unnecessary noise and separate from who you essentially are. By doing this, you are not only protecting yourself against overthinking, but you are also reclaiming your mental territory in peace, one step at a time. Each time you practice this technique, you are strengthening your ability to remain calm and find serenity in the midst of mental chaos. 6. It creates a period of worry. A worry period is a common human experience, having worries that nag at the back of our mind, lingering like the hum of a refrigerator, always present, sometimes barely noticeable, but indisputably there. These worries can hijack our thoughts at any time, often when we're trying to focus on work, enjoy time with friends, or even when we're trying to sleep. It's as if our mind is a stage and these worries are uninvited actors who don't leave. But consider this wisdom from Stoic master Epictetus: if you want to improve, be content to be considered foolish and stupid. This quote may seem out of context, but it's a bold reminder to prioritize our peace of mind rather than giving in to the worry of appearing complacent or naive. Creating a worry period is a strategic way to give those worries their moment on stage, but only during the encore, not as the main act. Set aside a specific time each day, perhaps 20 minutes in the afternoon, when you will allow these concerns to occupy your full attention. During this dedicated time, delve deeper into your concerns, scrutinize them, understand their roots, and even write them down. What are you really worried about? How likely are these scenarios? What can you do about it? This focused session often reveals that many of our concerns are like shadows, seemingly large but without much sustenance when faced directly. This process also teaches your mind that there is a time and a place to worry, and it's not all day, every day. Then, when the worry period is over, move on. You've given your worries their allotted time and now put them aside, compartmentalizing them. This way you can regain control of your day. The goal isn't to stop worrying completely, that's impossible, but by curbing your worries you reduce their impact on your life. This technique is like organizing your mental room, putting your thoughts where they belong, and enjoying the tranquility of the tidy space. You're likely to find that worries lose their power when they're not allowed to roam free, and life becomes a little lighter and a little more pleasurable. 7. Decompress overwhelming thoughts into concrete steps. When overthinking hits us, it can feel as if we are carrying the weight of a giant rock. The size of our worries seems equivalent to the weight of the entire world, and we are trapped under the dense cloud of our own thoughts. This feeling is not unique, it is a shared human condition, compounded in a world that demands high performance in all areas of life: work, relationships, personal growth, and social status. The pressure to excel can paralyze us with indecision and fear. As a guide through this fog of overthinking, Marcus Aurelius once said, "The obstacle to action becomes action. What is in the way becomes the way." This deep insight is the basis of our fifth technique, transforming overwhelming thoughts into concrete steps. When your mind is dominated by a big worry or complex problem, the trick is to break it down into smaller, manageable chunks. Ask yourself, what's the next step I can take? Not all 5, 10, or 20 steps forward, but just the next one. Taking action in a single step may seem trivial, but it is a powerful antidote to overthinking. By focusing on an action, you channel the energy of worrying into doing it. It's similar to untangling a large knot, working on one small tangle at a time. You are not ignoring the complexity of your concerns, you are navigating them with purpose and precision. The beauty of this technique lies in its simplicity and effectiveness. Every little step you take builds momentum, and looking back, you realize that that rock of worry is now a pile of pebbles. You advance step by step. This method teaches patience, endurance, and confidence in the ability to face challenges head-on. Suddenly, what once seemed insurmountable is behind us, and overthinking turns into a feeling of accomplishment and clarity. 8. Seek wisdom outside yourself. This is essential when we find ourselves trapped in the whirlwind of overthinking. Our minds often become an intricate maze, where every effort to find a way out seems to lead us into greater confusion and overanalysis. We try to solve a puzzle, only to discover that the pieces seem to multiply infinitely, leaving us trapped in an endless cycle. A man revered for his wisdom gave us invaluable advice: consult your friend in everything, especially in matters that concern yourself. Your advice may be useful where your own self-love might affect your judgment. These simple words encapsulate a profound truth that can serve as a compass in the stormy waters of overthinking. Stoicism teaches us that seeking perspectives beyond our own can break the endless cycle of rumination. That insight can come from a friend with fresh insight, the objective advice of a mentor, or the timeless wisdom found in literature. To apply this principle in the modern context, it is crucial to seek the opinion of people you trust and respect. This could be someone in your close circle or a professional with the necessary experience to guide you. Sharing your thoughts with them not only provides clarity as you articulate what's on your mind, but it also opens the door to receiving objective feedback that you might have ignored while immersed in the whirlwind of thoughts. This technique not only offers practical solutions, but also reminds us that human connection is invaluable. When we share our burdens with others, they often become lighter. This does not represent a weakness, but a recognition of the collective strength we possess as social beings. Allow the wisdom of others to be the light that guides you out of the shadows of overthinking. With each conversation, you will find that the puzzle becomes easier to solve, not because the problems are less complex, but because you are no longer trying to solve them alone. In connecting with others, you will find the support you need to face even the most intricate challenges, and together you will find solutions that you might not have been able to see for yourself. 9. Practice voluntary discomfort. Practicing voluntary discomfort is a powerful strategy for freeing ourselves from the cycle of rumination that traps us when we face uncomfortable situations or life changes. Our minds tend to create imaginary scenarios over and over again, trying to anticipate every possible outcome and preparing for an imaginable inconvenience. This constant mental rumination can be exhausting and keeps us trapped in our comfort zone, a kind of mental prison where personal growth stagnates and overthinking becomes the jailer. Consciously facing voluntary discomfort allows us to train our minds to deal with uncertainty and reduce overanalysis. It's about taking small, chosen actions that take us out of our comfort zone, teaching us resilience and adaptability in the process. To integrate this practice into modern life, you can start with something small, like taking a cold shower, sleeping without a pillow, or walking instead of driving. Do something that disrupts your usual routine and sit with whatever feelings come up without judging yourself. It is important to understand that this practice is not intended to punish, but rather to demonstrate to yourself that discomfort is not as terrifying as the analytical mind paints it. Voluntary discomfort has a paradoxical effect. By routinely exposing yourself to the uncomfortable, the unfamiliar becomes familiar, and your mind learns to calm down. You become less reactive to change and focus more on what you can control, your responses and attitudes to difficult situations. This powerful shift not only reduces overanalysis, but also builds an inner core of strength and resilience that is unaffected by the natural fluctuations of life circumstances. By practicing voluntary discomfort, you become more capable of facing challenges, accepting the unknown, and finding peace in the midst of uncertainty. Over time, this practice provides a deep sense of confidence and inner strength in all facets of life. 10. Reflect on the transience of life. When we find ourselves caught in the storm of overthinking, it's often because we focus too much on the minute details of our lives, losing sight of the bigger picture. Our thoughts turn into a tangle of, what if this happens, or, what if that doesn't work, which makes us lose perspective. This microscopic view can make even minor problems seem insurmountable, consuming our mental space and energy. Seneca once wrote, "We are not given a short life, but we make it short. We are not ill provided for, but we waste what we have." This reminder encourages us to reflect on the ephemeral nature of our existence. Every moment dedicated to overthinking is a moment not fully lived, a portion of life that has not been savored. Stoicism urges us to question whether our concerns will have any weight in the timeline of our lives. To combat overthinking, we must regularly step back and consider our lives as a whole, recognizing that many of the things that occupy our thoughts are transient and, in the long run, insignificant. When you feel overwhelmed by thoughts, stop and remember that life is fleeting. Ask yourself if this moment of overthinking is really worth the limited time you have. Reflecting on the transience of life helps us naturally prioritize our experiences and concerns. This is not an invitation to become gloomy or indifferent, but rather to appreciate the present and focus on what really matters. It is a powerful antidote against excessive thinking, as it aligns our attention with the present, our appreciation for the now, and reduces the weight of anxieties focused on the future. It allows the ephemeral nature of life not to be a source of anxiety, but rather a picture on which we paint with the bright colors of presence and committed life. If you liked our video, please like, subscribe and comment what you think, so YouTube knows that this type of video helps people like you and we can continue making more similar videos in the future.